Hi, this is Lisa. Welcome to video 1 of Deliverance Tips. So 1 Corinthians 14:33 says that God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Now, when someone is getting delivered of a demon, it can look chaotic, but that doesn't mean that there's not order. So today I want to talk to you about order in the team or with people that you're working with. I'm going to show you some actual video footage that I got off the internet of people that are ministering. I want to show you what went well and what didn't. Now, I'm not just trying to be critical because I don't video the deliverances that I'm a part of, and anyone can pick them apart. I just want to talk to you about best practices. Now, I do have to give a shout out to the late Bill Suddeth, Dr. William Suddeth, in his deliverance training manual. He goes through and really gives some good wisdom on how to work as a team. In his teams, he would have maybe one person writing things down or one person praying or reading the word, but there is one person who's in charge. I talked to him on the phone one time about a problem I was having, and he said, Lisa, one person needs to be in charge. And you want a diverse team if you can, if you're working with a team, because there's some people that are seers and hearers and work in the prophetic, and it's nice to work together, but you do need one point person. It's not a time for rebellion. It's also not a time for a one-man show. If everyone's listening to Holy Spirit, then everyone's in complete unity. So I'm going to give you some tips about working in a team. Like I said, I'm going to show you some videos in a minute and make some comments on those. The first thing is, it's very exciting when people get set free. But even though I've been trained and the team I work with are trained, we know that one person's in charge and makes the command. Yet there have been times when someone has started manifesting and it's gotten hectic and everyone start commanding at the same time. Sort of like if you have a kid and 10 adults are yelling at it what to do, a demon can respond by a harder manifestation, by rebellion, by confusion. They're already confused. They're on the wrong team, so they're confused anyway. So we don't want to make that any worse. So I know we had a child come into the church and began manifesting and was spitting and kicking and throwing, and so all of us mothers wanted to, stop that right now. But we had to quickly come into order. So number one, even though I'm saying this, there may be times that it's going to be tempting to come out of order, but you got to stay there. Number two, when you go in as a team and you have one person as the point person, they are going to do the command, come out. They're going to be dealing with that person in deliverance. Now, as you work with a team, you will start getting cues. Like if I'm working with Debbie, I can see that she has something. So if I'm leading that set, then I'm going to say, Debbie, do you have something? Or they may slip me a note and say, this is what I'm hearing. And oftentimes it's the key that they need to be set free. If I'm working in a team and someone else is the lead, even though I'm the leader of the ministry, I fall under there and I submit to the authority. And even when I want to talk, I might say, hey, Amber, can I say something? And if she says no, I'm going to acquiesce. You have to be in complete unity. A demon can smell out division and rebellion. So if you want them to come out, you're going to have to be united with Holy Spirit and with your team. The third thing is sometimes, even though you're the leader, you may want to hand off the leadership, which is perfectly fine. There are three reasons typically that might happen. Number one, I might get tired as the leader and just think I need to hand this over or I'm not hearing anything. Most of the time, the reason I hand it over is Holy Spirit says, Lisa, hand it to so and such. We had a situation where we were praying for this woman, and Amber had a difficult time getting to the church. And when Amber came, we were already praying for people. I'd already ministered. She came and she sat down, and I heard switch to Amber. So I said, Amber, please take the lead. I took Amber's spot, and she came into the lead, and that demon looked up and said, you weren't supposed to be here. And the woman got set free. Now, sometimes as a leader, I may take the person's spot that I'm bringing into the leader, or I might need to go pray with someone else. And the other reason I might do this, I've done this before, is if there is a person on the team that the demon particularly hates. So like I'm commanding, but this demon keeps flashing at Tammy and hates her. A lot of times I'll say, okay, Tammy, you want to look at her? She can command that to happen. So I will do that sometimes. So you can change over leadership. Just work in tandem. Let everybody be trained on how to handle that. And then lastly, before I go into the videos, I want to retouch on rebellion. If there's any schism, if there's any unforgiveness in the team, you're going to want to get that taken care of. If there's a power play, that is not of God. And like I said before, the enemy can sniff that out. If there's anyone on the team that can't submit, you have a problem that the demon will capitalize on. And one other thing I want to mention, because we're going to see this in the video. This is my opinion. There are different authorities in the church. And if I am ministering to someone, let's say they're manifesting or I'm commanding the spirit to come out, and a leader or someone with delegated authority, let's say that someone comes into our pulpit as a leader of the church has asked them to minister that night. Well, let's say if my pastor comes over and begins ministering, I'm going to automatically if I'm in lead, I'm going to take a support role. If that speaker comes over that has that delegated authority, I'm going to go automatically into support role because I want there to be clarity, and the enemy does understand order and authority. It's rebellious to think that there are people that don't have higher authorities. So what? So if they have a higher authority, acquiesce. A lot of times they won't want you to, but if that's how it flows, then allow them to do that. Okay. In the first video, this is what I got off of Isaiah Saldivar. It was a video on revival. I'll try to put the links to the original videos in the comments so you can see those. But in this one, I believe he's speaking at this revival, and he is the guest speaker. That means he has the delegated authority. There's a woman who begins to manifest, and there are women doing a good job praying for her. However, when the speaker approaches, in my opinion, it would have been less chaotic if he would have been given the lead role of setting that woman free. But instead, we hear in the backgrounds really kind of agitating that there's commands coming from the audience and coming from people. I've blurred this out just a little bit just to kind of protect some identities, but just take a look at this.
Spirit of witchcraft, look at me right now. Witchcraft, look at me. You're leaving her. You're leaving her. Look at me right now, Spirit. You're leaving her. She is not your home. We command you right now to go. We command you right now to go. You're leaving in Jesus' name. Go right now. When I ask this for you,
Cancel your assignment right now.
1, 2, 3, go. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Out. There it is. Go.
Now, I know that's the heat of the moment, but in my opinion, it would have been less chaotic just to everyone go into a support role, and then Isaiah began to cast that spirit out. The woman did get set free. Okay, in this next clip, this man has been manifesting quite vehemently. The woman taking the video has been praying under her breath, kind of making commands all along. But as he escalates, she begins to escalate as well, which is typical if you don't try not to do that. So the minister here is John Ramirez, and he's very astute of what's happening around his environment. So when she begins this, it begins a work of division, really, or chaos. And not saying she's not of God, but she could have been fearful. I don't know. She could have just been trying to help. But he kindly puts his hand up, and he recognizes that this is causing confusion. So the woman submits and becomes quiet. Now, if someone gets angry because they're being corrected, they really don't need to be doing that anyway. So thankfully, check this out, the man was set free.
Jesus. Jesus. Out, up and out. Up and out.
But in that clip, there was a woman earlier that came by. I don't know what she did, but the man begins to growl at her. The spirit begins to growl, and she gives it this. And I was like, he probably wouldn't have manifested it much if it wasn't being antagonized. I mean, he's probably going to manifest anyway, but it just made it worse. Now, I wanted to include a clip where someone did it well. And in this final clip, I got this from Daniel Adams. This is one I think was done really well. He's ministering to a woman who's been manifesting a python spirit. She has been set free quite a bit, but not finished yet. And you can see one of the team members, he's already directed her before to come and minister, but she goes into a support role when Daniel is ministering. And you can hear Daniel give her the instruction to take over, and she does. And I included the clip of where she was set free because her smile is so beautiful. The woman gets set free, and it was teamwork that did it.
Leave her alone. Yep. Yeah, Jess, go ahead and finish her up. Hallelujah.
So I hope you can see that I think it's a great deliverance ministry tip. If you have one person in charge, people in support role, everybody working together to set the captive free and do the work of Jesus Christ. Next week, I'll have tip number 2. You can find out more videos and information about our ministry at miracleofdeliverance.com. We have training videos, handouts, and helpful information for those who want to learn a biblical, balanced way of doing the miracle of deliverance.